He says we're supposed to be trying to make flying cars, but instead we came out with a way to do 140 character messages on the internet.
Yeah. Like that, like that's that big of a deal, right? Limiting the characters.
Yeah.
I don't want to write with that pen. I'll write with this one.
Well, hopefully that worked. All right, Frank, we are up live on the air. Woohoo. A little bit on the late side. Let me just check some things on my end and we will. Yes, yeah, I got to turn the volume down.
Turn the volume down, Ryan.
All right, Frank, we are up live. There we go. I think it would do it by default.
Turn it down, Ryan.
You're too loud.
It's too loud. Your father and I can't watch the television.
That's what I say about my dad. Man, when he watches TV, it is loud.
Oh, yeah, my dad, too. That's because they can't hear shit.
I know. I'm like, Dad, you got old man TV skills, man. All right, you ready to get started?
Let's go. Let's see what you got.
Here we go. Welcome, everyone, to today's Advanced Auto Retail Marketing Mastermind. Today is Tuesday, November 6th, 2018. Thank you for joining us. And it's just polling day. Get out today and make sure you have voted or you plan to. I know I did. Got my little sticker here. Got Frank Lopes here with us. You can probably see him too. What's up, Frank?
What's up, buddy? How are you?
Welcome back. I'm good. And always glad to have you back up here. Frank and I, what we're planning to do is we're going to go through some dealership websites and do some online critiques, look not just for things, not just the negatives, but some of the positives too, things that you want to shoot for or stray away from. We've got 3 sites lined up that we're going to look at. We'll spend a few minutes on those. This is streamed live. So folks, if you're here live, thank you for joining us. If you're catching the replay, that's great too. Enjoy this. We do record it. I release this out onto the Auto Converse podcast. And then we also do some nice videos and blog posts around it as well. So let me do some quick orientation. I'm going to share a different part of my screen here.
Okay.
Just a quick orientation and fill everybody in. And Frank was asking why we don't stream this onto Facebook, which leads to a whole nother type of conversation. Mike Phillips and I, he was on a few weeks ago on my weekly show, and we got into the differences between streaming on different platforms. So there is a rhyme and a reason to not streaming on Facebook. I know that there's a lot of popularity to Facebook and there's good audience there. But as I was telling Frank, our goal here is to, we stream this onto our website. So if you look here, we have on our website on autoconversion.net, we have watch pages set up and a discussion board. And we have these little calls to action that are specific to the different events that we're doing. These are brand new. So if you're watching on YouTube right now, I put a link in the live chat that will bring you to this watch page. And if you look under here, there's 3 different watch pages. So let me explain how all this works. We launched a series of auto retail masterminds. They're webinar-like events like this. We got 2 or 3 people come on. We explore different things. You can find them under here under the mastermind section for auto retail. And I'm on the advanced auto retail one. Each of these has its own page. So you can effectively, it's like joining a mailing list. You can opt in and subscribe to each individual mastermind. So if one stands out for you, you want to be a part of it, be sure to do that. And that way we know your interest level. Then we update those pages with recent and upcoming events. And we link to the replay that's on YouTube. We link to that. And in this case, we're linking to the watch page. So a few weeks ago, we had Julie Lawton and Matt Kalogian from Experian presenting some information around PPC advertising in your dealership name. And a little bit before that, we had Brian Miller on looking at some image branding tips, if you will, for advertising on classifieds. So here's what you want to do. Make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. Press on that bell icon so that you get notified when we go live. that will send you a notification like on your phone, or an email, which will bring you to the YouTube page. You can watch it there, or I'll always put a link to the page on our website where you can watch. There is a recurring Facebook event for each live stream, each series that we do. So if you go there, you can RSVP to those events individually. And that's where we put the show notes and announcements about each and upcoming event and the dates and who is going to be on those. And so we want to have, like Frank, you're up here, I don't know, every couple of months. This is a new concept we have today, going to critique some dealership websites, and I'm looking forward to getting into that in a moment. Real quick, just a shout out to today's sponsor, Experian Automotive, who I just mentioned. That podcast and video are coming out later this week, so be sure to look for that. But with Experian Automotive, their new dealer marketing intelligence platform is a revolutionary approach to marketing effectiveness, utilizing data-driven insights to help you unlock the power of your pure market potential. So now you can tie your dealership advertising, website analytics, and inventory info together with market and consumer data from Experian Automotive. So support what we're doing, support our sponsors. Go to autoconverse.com/Experian and look into that. Mr. Frank Lopes, what's up? You ready to get going here?
I'm absolutely ready to go. Let's go, man. You got me. It's like you got a thoroughbred in the gate, and you close the gate behind him, and he's in there, and the bell's not going off, man.
Yeah.
Like, come on, let's go, man.
It's all about building the anticipation. It's funny you say that, because I do like to get right into the heart of the matter. But there's a lot to the idea. So you've been on my weekly show. I was telling you about the masterminds. I said, hey, if you have any ideas for getting together and doing something kind of out of the box, and you came back and said, why don't we look at some dealership websites? So the way I advertised this was, we want to look for positive and negatives. What do you want to accomplish today as we look at these sites?
Yeah, well, look, the main thing is, number one, when you're looking at any dealer's site, you have to always, from a critique level, you always have to use an objective eye, without a doubt, because you're going into it hoping that there's a master plan to the actual execution on what's going on that site. Unfortunately, more times than not, there is no master plan, and it's just the plan is just the herding mentality that is put forth by whoever the website service provider is, unfortunately, or whoever the OEM is. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. A lot of these sites are managed to the weakest link, so a lot of times there's no creativity. A lot of times there's no master plan. There's no master agenda of what's better and what's best for that dealership. But there are a few things that are somewhat constant, and those are the things that we're really going to look for today, and those are the things that we're going to try to dive into right away.
Great. And Frank has no idea what sites I've picked. I collaborated with a few folks that might be interested in this. So I have here Martin Kia. I loaded up their homepage.
What's funny, Ryan? I drove past this dealership yesterday.
No kidding.
Yeah, but I literally drove right past it. I have a dealership that I work with on Cleveland Avenue in Newark, as they say it down there, in Newark, Delaware. So I drove right past Martin Kia, and if this website were to pop up just by looking at the homepage, I would probably drive past as well.
That's funny. Well, yeah, I didn't even think about that, because you're not too far from where they are. I mean, you're more northern Jersey, right?
Yeah, I'm in Central Jersey, but like I said, having clients all over the place. This is the dealer that I work with is actually Matt Slap Subaru, and they're right down the street on Cleveland Avenue. So I always like when I have a dealership that I'm working with that I don't have to go to Newark Airport and to go to. But
yeah, so you don't know people. You don't have a relationship with these folks, then?
I have no relationship with these people. And like what Ryan said, when he pitched me the idea of doing this, I was like, the one caveat that I have is I don't want to know who the dealers are ahead of time. I want to look at the website cold for the first time, so we can get initial just reactions right off the bat.
Cool. Well, let's get started. You tell me where you want me to go and look at.
Well, the first thing I want you to do is these homepage slides that are up. Do me a favor, just click on one. Like I can see the Nitro and it's switching to a Sorrento right now. Just click on it for me.
Okay. All right.
Okay, and it seems to go to an inventory search.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever go back a page for me.
And it preloaded the Sorrento, because that was the image I clicked. So that's good.
That was relevant. Yeah, that's good. That's good, and it's relevant. But here's another one of these types of things. So like I said, go back to the homepage if you would, please.
Okay.
Okay, so one of the things that I'm looking at with it is, even as you were going back and forth, the amount of time that it took you, because there obviously are a lot of pop-ups, and there's a lot of background stuff that's going on over here, which may be slowing the site down as well, because we know that site speed is tremendously important on on both mobile and on desktop. So we do, without a doubt, we want to be as sensitive as we possibly can. So the first thing that I look at is, and it seems to be a faux pas that you see quite often with homepages of websites, is that the first thing that you see is the homepage slide, which with a special on it, which is fine. But when you look at this special and you look at the amount of text that's on the special, I mean, it's actually like, it's overwhelming, because you have a least special over here, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines of mouse type that's on here. And I'm sure that if we go and we pull this up on their mobile site, not only can the mouse type, the disclaimer type that's on there, not only can that not be read, but we more than likely cannot read the actual, most of the content that's on those slides, as well. So what I'll do really quick is Martin Kia, right? So I'll search for it, and I'll pull the same site up on mobile.
I almost wonder if the image on the slide is just a crop from a print ad. It literally looks like that. Like they took the print ad and cut it out and made an image out of it.
Okay, so I don't know if you can see on the screen, but there's the mobile site, right?
Same. Okay. And
obviously you can barely read anything that's on there. So that's number one. So the fix for this is something that's a bit labor intensive, but for the dealer, it definitely helps out dramatically. And that's to have individual landing pages created for each one of those specials, so that on the homepage special, you can display very big. You can display what kind of car it is, the price, and a good photograph of the car with a button that says click to learn more or click to save more. Because, for example, these slides right now, I'm watching it, and the slides are going by at a rate that they're much less that you can read any of the disclaimer information. You definitely can't even read the offer. There's just not enough time on the screen to be able to digest what you're reading, because it's going by too fast. When we're on mobile, not only is it going by fast as well. I don't know if you have my camera on, or if you have
we can see it,
or if you have your screen. Okay, so you can see that it's going by so fast as well on here, and it's a quarter of the size. I mean, I have the largest iPhone that's possible to be, that's possible today, and nobody's holding as close as I'm holding. Nobody holds their iPhone to their face as close as I'm holding it to the camera right now, and this stuff is screaming by. So that's number one, because look, everything that goes on the site immediately begins to build a relationship between the dealership and the customer. And that relationship is immediately built based on whatever the customer's experience is of the website, of if it's friendly, if it's easy to use, if they're finding the information that they want. And also, another important thing that a lot of dealers don't look at is the main message that the dealer wants to give off. The thing that's the most important that the dealer feels that the customer needs to know about that dealership is that in front of the customer as well. So I think if there is a Mr. Martin, I think if we spoke to him and we started to talk to him about, what do you feel the most important message is? It's not this 209 a month Kia Sportage with 6 lines of text underneath. It's more than likely why somebody should buy a car at Martin Kia. And
let me ask you this. One thing that's really standing out for me that's kind of bugging me is the header. You have a lot of space. You have a logo with a lot of empty space, and then phone numbers, address, and some buttons at the top. Do you have an opinion about the use of the top portion of the site?
Yeah, I mean, once again, it's poor design because, I believe by looking at this looks like it's a Fusion Zone site, and it's nothing against Fusion Zone. But once again, they're trying to design just like dealer.com, just like Dealer Inspire, just like everybody else. They're trying to design the site, trying to do it at scale. So trying to do it at scale means you have to do it as fast as you possibly can. You can only customize to a certain level, and there's certain things that just fall through the cracks. And the reason there's so much space, especially on the left-hand side of the header of the masthead under the Martin logo and everything, is because if you look all the way to the right, somebody had the fantastic idea of putting quick link buttons in for hours and directions and to translate the website. But they just took them and they just stacked them underneath the phone number and the address of the dealership, which added all this.
Yeah, they could go next to each other instead. And
they could easily put it next to each other. They could easily put it in the amount of space that's between the Martin Kia logo and the beginning of the address and the phone numbers. Tighten that all up and make it so that there's more room. Just think about it. If they did that, Ryan, scroll down just a little bit, just a couple clicks.
Okay.
A little bit more. So you see under that, you have all of these quick links going to new vehicles, used vehicles, certified used, get finance, schedule service. Those are all actually of value to the customer because of the fact that they get them off of the homepage and onto whatever it is that they're looking at quicker. Go back, scroll back to the top again. Ryan, scroll. Okay, so if those buttons were moved up, those quick links that are only exposed maybe a quarter of what they are above the fold of the homepage would start to show more and would be of more value to the customer.
Okay, let's move on to site number 2 because we're I think spent 10 minutes on that one. Let's go to site number 2. I have Muller Honda. Now this is a splash page, but I picked their Highland Park store here. Okay. So very different layout, you can see, and much more aesthetic homepage, in my opinion, with the video in the background.
Without a doubt, I want to know if you pick these just out of nowhere, or if you're purposely picking Fusion Zone websites because you picked another Fusion Zone site.
Martin Kia was requested by a viewer. I didn't even look at who the site provider is. So you're saying Martin Kia was Fusion Zone, and so is this, which I think is good because it shows the diversity of the platform, right?
Yeah, without a doubt, it shows the diversity of the platform. But once again, I'm going to point something out. So you have a little bit of a cleaner homepage, and you have a little bit of a more direct on the customer can go exactly where it is that they would want to go from here. But I'm sure if you spoke to Mr. Muller, he's got a thing up here that says you will not be disappointed. But I'm sure that impression that he wants is, why am I not going to be disappointed? How are you not going to disappoint me? And this website, once again, just by looking at it, it does absolutely nothing to tell me why I should buy a car at Muller Honda.
What could a website say to make you say that? Can you give me?
Absolutely. It's very simple. And the space is here to do it. As you can see, but right below the masthead of the website, right? Scroll back down like you're at the top. Okay. So right below the masthead of the website, right in between the masthead and between that first row of quick links where it says today's lease offer, new inventory, and used inventory. As you can see, there's a space there that has this that you can see a little bit of this rolling footage that honestly nobody gives a shit about, but it looks very nice and dealers like it. So of course, every single website service provider puts this on their homepage because it sells websites, doesn't do anything to sell customers cars. But in that space right there, you could very easily create a static banner. A static banner is an image that goes up there that does not move. And in that static banner could be the dealership's why buy message or the dealership's added value message, which would be there immediately and would begin to enhance that experience of why the experience between the dealership and the customer, which at this point, as soon as somebody goes to the homepage of the website for the first time, that experience is nil. I mean, it's extremely cold. There's nothing built. So if we can make an impression and use a static banner up there that begins to plant the seed as to why a customer should buy a car at this dealership or at any dealership, as a matter of fact, right? If we could do that in that space, that's going to be much more valuable than showing this running footage that honestly nobody gives a shit about. Okay,
so I'll give you a little pushback. So the site before that had cutouts of ads, right? Like, it looked like cutouts of print ads, and they were very very promotionally driven. Whereas this one, you get product in motion, you get high def, video product in motion, which I think gives the visitor more of an opportunity, more of a chance really to connect with the product. You're saying no one cares about that. You should have your value proposition front and center right there.
Absolutely. And here's why, Ryan, because if the person's coming to a Honda website, to a Honda dealership website, they're already interested in a Honda. Okay, so if we're talking about the manufacturer site, then yes, let's enhance the product as much as we possibly can. But when it comes to the dealership, all right, that orange Civic that's on the screen right now it's a blue Civic, right? That car is duplicated at nearly every single Honda dealership. So the Ridgeline that's on the screen right now, that's not friggin' special, Ryan. That's not special to Muller Honda. That same Ridgeline is going to be at every other competing Honda dealership. The only thing that Muller Honda or Martin Kia or whoever it is, the only thing that they have to sell, which is unique to them, is themselves. That's it. The cars are a commodity. We all know that. But here's where the problem comes in. Asking the dealer to actually construct a why buy message or an added value message that the internet service, that the website service provider can put into that spot at times is like asking for the code, to the vault at Fort Knox. I mean, sometimes it just doesn't happen. So there should almost be, every website service provider should almost have some generic fill in the blank, why buy messages that they can put into that spot.
Did you notice the scrolling text beneath the 6 boxes that say welcome?
Yeah, I bet that's really legible on mobile.
We're the only Honda store in North Chicago to receive the prestigious 2017 President's Award. I guess that's from Honda. Commitment to our customer satisfaction, experience, and success is why we have won this award 11 times. Call us today. So that is a why buy from us, buried towards the bottom, scrolling across. You're saying take that and make that your homepage message altogether.
Make that, because I'm sure if you spoke to Mr. Muller, that's the first message that he would want every single person to see who visits the website.
Yep.
Everyone. Okay. The first thing that he would want to do is begin to establish the reason on why somebody should buy a car there and not another dealer in Chicagoland.
Final question on this site before we go to the third one. What does this yellow VIP concierge button do for you?
Nothing, because I don't know what it is. You have to click it to see. And if I'm in the industry and I don't know what that is, then obviously, Joe Schmidt, who lives in Highland Park, Illinois, has no idea what it is either.
Yeah.
So the button's worthless.
As a shopper, it stands out. It's essentially front and center. The color, makes it stand out. So you do have to press it to know what it is. But to me, as a consumer, what's VIP about it if it's available to everybody? That's my first thought.
I'm with you on that one. So what's the third site?
All right, the third one. Where did I put it? I moved it by accident, I think. Hold on. It's over here. No. It's Henderson Chevy. 1 second. Somehow I took it off by accident. All right, let me just type it in again.
Okay.
Henderson Chevrolet. So reality is we could pick one page and spend, a whole segment on one individual page. So keeping the focus here on, is this showing now for you?
Yep, I see it.
Okay, good. So yeah, keeping the focus on the home page is good. And here we go.
Okay, so you picked a Chevy dealer now that uses a CDK website, which once again, if we're going to critique a CDK website, we have to have a monstrous curve in it, because we're just talking about, we're talking about a platform that has an extremely limited amount of flexibility and creativity in it. It actually goes against any type of creative bone in anyone's body. It just, there's more no's than
And the
yeses.
but the dealer is required to use it as well.
Unfortunately, yes. I mean, and we work with a few Chevy dealers. My company FB Digital works with a few Chevy dealers, and it's always a challenge at best. That's a nice way to describe working with a CDK website, is that it's a challenge,
Yeah. So here's what stands out for me. We have two logos, the Chevrolet logo and then the dealership's Henderson Chevrolet logo, which has Chevy in it. What are your thoughts on that approach?
Well, I'm trying to remember right now if the Chevrolet logo that's in the upper left-hand corner of the masthead, if that's a mandatory requirement or not. I believe it can be shut off, but don't quote me 100%. I would have to open up a control center in CDK, but I believe that can be shut off. Either that, or I'm mistaken, and the dealership's logo can be shut off, and just the dealership's name can be up there, and the Chevy logo needs to stay no matter what. So like I said, once again, we're kind of pigeonholed over here. One thing I would say is that this typeface that was picked, somebody tried to class up the website, and hence why they changed a lot of these colors. Like, for example, the color of the top line navigation bar, that's why they changed it to black. And then they went with like this Times Roman or something website. Do me a typeface. Do me a favor, click on where it says shop new for me.
All right, let's go there.
Okay, and you can see once again that typeface continues down, and unfortunately, CDK is going to take all of the text that you put in and change it to all caps. So you need to make sure that you pick a typeface that looks good in all caps, so that it's very legible.
Yeah, which I think it does. Are you saying the typeface is not a good choice?
It's not really a good choice, because like Times Roman and certain serif typefaces, none of the letters are clean, meaning that there's always like a little notch in like the top. Like look at like shop new, for example, or even look at home, right? The H has all these little notches in it all the time, and at times on certain screens, that type of stuff can get a little fuzzy, or a little
maybe
notchy.
Like an Arial or a Verdana would be better. Now, what about the elements of the home page here? We have a slider, 4 slides, just announced 0% APR Black Friday. Then we have kind of a traditional looking ad with a MSR, with a savings and a percentage for a couple different cars, the Equinox.
Right. Well, it's today's the 5th or 6th of the month. So number one, we can't, it's a little early in the month to be able to tell if this dealer just does not put custom offers up, or if they just generally use whatever it is that Chevrolet is running at that particular time. But I don't particularly like to use the offers that come from the manufacturer as my main push, because they're going to be the exact same thing on everybody's website. I want some customization and I want some individuality in there. Right now, it's all theirs, which is, it sucks, but that's okay. That's okay. Like I said, it's the 6th of the month. It's still a little early in the month, so it's possible that they didn't do it. But now I'm looking down, and you have on the left-hand side, it shows on the left-hand side, spectacular savings on SUVs and trucks. Okay, Halloween's over.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's what, the 5th, or say it's November 6th. So this stuff over here that says spectacular savings, I mean, that should have been gone on the 1st of the month. But do me a favor, scroll down a little bit, because I saw a link there underneath those payments. Okay, and it just goes to inventory. So it says pick your payment, 0 down, sign and drive, 2019 Chevy Equinox, $199 a month. But there's no example. So, some customers may look at this and think it's bait and switch, and honestly, that's not a thing that's on the customer. That's a thing that's on the dealer, because the last thing you want is for the customer to come in for that $199 Equinox and not be satisfied with the vehicle. And once again, I think is there one or two of these sets of reviews on here?
I'm looking at that. So customer reviews, it shows stars, and then it has pictures of the cars.
It's very
the person's name.
Yeah, it's very, very confusing. So more than likely what this is, and you see how all 3 of these are from the 27th.
Uh-huh.
So it's more than likely this is an automatic feed of reviews that's on here, which is actually pretty bad. Ryan, do me a favor, underneath that center review, you see there's those radio dots. Go to the one on the left. The second one is clicked right now. Go to the first one.
Okay.
Because I saw something. Okay, so look at the first review. It says, I had some issues in question, and then it says, had some issues in question, and I'm going out of town. Upon my return, I'll address them. So obviously, it's an automatic feed that nobody's watching, and it's set up to automatically pump in any review that's 4 stars or more, which in some ways, yeah, that's a very good set it and forget it type of execution. But at the same time, now you've got something on here that has a customer that said that he had issues, and it's on the homepage of your website. So that's a big faux pas on Henderson Chevy's part. And so these 3 reviews, if you want to have reviews on the homepage to say that you're great and everything, that's fantastic. That's I'm 100% in with that. But the problem is that when you have them and then you show a picture of a car on top, it'd be much better to show a picture of the customer with their new car that they purchased, and then their review immediately underneath it. But once again, that would require customization, and that would actually require some labor and some work, which Cobalt sure as hell ain't gonna friggin' do it, and Henderson Chevy probably has no idea how to do it.
That's a good point. I would think for right there, maybe like testimonials, customer testimonials might be more applicable for the site versus automated reviews.
Without a doubt. And look, this goes back to what I was saying before, Ryan, is that, a lot of dealers, that they feel that even though it's a manufacturer site, or even though the website service provider dictates, or the OEM dictates what can and cannot go on the site, it's still the dealer's website, no matter what. And the dealer has to take put just as much attention and care just as much about the site as they do about the front line of the dealership or about the showroom in the dealership, because it literally is the first front line, and it is the first showroom that the customer has interacts with when it comes to the dealership. It's the front line for them. So things like that, to be honest, that's inexcusable, where you have an automatic feed of reviews that are coming in and it's just set up to be 4 stars or better. That is so mailing it in. Whatever type of bad results Henderson Chevy gets off their website, to be honest, they deserve it, because they're basically mailing it in. They're just allowing whatever to come through. Dealers and general managers, I cannot stress enough that website is your front line. Without a doubt, it is your website, whether it's mandated by CDK or whether it's mandated by GM or mandated by one of the other manufacturers. It's still your site, and it's your responsibility to push the needle as far as you possibly can and get as much custom content that serves your purpose, not the OEM's purpose, and not the website service providers, herding mentality of customizing websites. That does absolutely nothing for you, Mr. Dealer. It does absolutely nothing for you, Mr. General Manager. It does nothing to sell a car for you. The only thing that it does is make it easier on the OEM that they can herd everybody together and keep control, or it just makes it easier for the website service provider that they can herd their clients together and be able to scale. It does nothing, absolutely nothing. It actually hurts you. So you've got to take the investment of your website extremely seriously.
Do you have any examples of dealer sites that maybe take the approach that you're suggesting?
Go to one right now. I'll show you a site that we're working on right now with a new client. The site's not done yet, but I'll give you an example. So go to Malouf, MALOUF.
Okay.
Ford.
Malouf Ford.
Inc. INC.
.com.
.com.
All right, let me share my screen again while that loads up. All right. Now this is a site that a dealer's site that you're working on?
Right. This is a new client that just started working with us recently. And so like I said, we're in the process of optimizing the site with them and taking their marketing messages and working them into their website. So I'll give you some examples just right off the homepage.
All right.
Ryan, your screen, the only thing that I can see is the bottom left-hand bar that shows what's going on, like what's loading onto the website.
All right, let's give it a second. Maybe I didn't pick the right window.
There you go.
That better?
That's better. Okay. So I'll just start from the top down and just show a few things. This dealership, Malouf Ford is a I like to call them legacy dealerships. They've been in business. This store has been in business for 40 some odd years, has a very good hold in its PMA, but does have a few extremely larger competitors not very far away. So when I'm saying competitors, Malouf generally sells somewhere in the vicinity of like 120 to 160 cars a month, new and used, and their competitors sell close to about 200. All right. And it used to be the other way around. So the first thing that we do is you can see we have and this is a dealer.com Ford OEM website.
All right.
Okay. So I started with whatever the template was that Ford dictated to be able to use. So I am working within constraints. Mm-hmm. So the number one thing that we do is up in the upper left-hand corner. It's funny. I'm pointing at my screen like you can actually see me.
Imagine the people listening to this on the podcast.
Yeah, that can't see a damn thing. So, the first thing that you can see in the upper left-hand corner, we have the new Malouf logo, and underneath their tagline, get the most at Malouf. And I did that on purpose. Number one, that's a value statement, get the most at Malouf. And I'm tying that in with all other media that they do. Okay. Immediately under that, as you can see, the top line navigation is completely changed around. Because for this dealership, it is much more important to get the reason of why somebody should buy a car from Malouf as opposed to one of their competitors than it is to get them on the inventory immediately. A customer who's coming in, they're going to find the inventory. That's not a question. I make the joke all the time that trying to keep inventory away from a serious car shopper is like trying to keep crack away from a crackhead. The crackhead's going to find the crack. So it's much more advantageous for the dealer to get his message in front of the customer first, especially when you're working in an environment and in a condition where you have a major competitor who's coming after your throat on price all the time. So the first thing you can see is it says about Malouf Ford. So Ryan, do me a favor, click on that drop down.
Okay.
And as you can see, even why choose Malouf is the first thing somebody sees, and then extras you get here. And once again, done completely by design because I need to build the reason as to why somebody should buy a car here before we get into the commodity part of it, of if they have the black F-150 premium, in stock or not. So I'm glad you clicked on that. That's a good move.
Yeah, I
So
was
what
curious
this
to
does is
see.
this goes to their Maloof Ford Promise page. Yep. So which is their why buy message, which basically says that everything that goes on at Maloof Ford is going to be easy, it's going to be straightforward, and it's going to be guaranteed. And we have a few we promise lines in there where we talk about not wasting a customer's time and helping the customer make the decision that's best for them, and things like that. So once again, beginning to set the table as to saying that the experience that the customer is going to have at Maloof Ford is going to be completely different than at any other Ford dealership. And also the items that are in this why buy message are designed specifically to go against the objections that customers always have about buying a car in general. Mostly,
Let me ask you as we wind this down. I'm getting sold on putting your value proposition front and center. People are going to find the inventory. It's going to be in the navigation. Why not just have a video from, just a nice video that you go to the homepage and you just get a nice video and it's like, here's why you should buy from us. Like,
I'm in.
okay.
I'm totally in.
Like,
There's nothing wrong with having a pop-up video come up that for the first, this is where okay. So what you said is great, Ryan, without a doubt. Okay. But you call dealer.com and tell them that you want a video to pop up and have the video produced, right? And then tell them that you want it to pop up only on the first time that a customer lands on the website.
Yeah.
You're gonna get a big fat no. It's not gonna happen.
That brings up something I've been talking about for years, and it makes me scratch my head why I'm not in the website business. But the site should know who you are when you get there. It should have a really good idea of who you are. When you go to Apple, it's real clean and it's one thing. You have all the menu items, but the focus is one thing, and the one thing is the latest thing that they have to share with you.
Right.
I know we're not selling electronics, right? I'm just using it as an example. When you go to Amazon, it knows who you are. Even if you're not logged in, it says, welcome back, Ryan.
Right.
And before I can do anything, but everything on there is specific to my shopping behavior. When you go to Facebook, it knows who you are. So to me, when I go to a dealer's website, if I've never been there before, I think to your point, this is why you should buy from us. You're here because you wouldn't say funnel, but you're here because you've walked down a path and you need something and you're here, and this is
right.
And we welcome you here. Now, the next time I go there, I could get something different from that video, and ideally something that is consistent with my previous behavior on the site.
And there's some great third-party plugins for websites, like Unbounce is one that we use that will change whatever the pop-up message is or whatever the banner message is on the bottom of the site, will change it based on the customer's behavior, whether it's their first visit, second visit, fifth visit, if the last time they visited, if they came in and went to service and did nothing else, all intuitive based on what the customer's behavior is. And Ryan, you touched on something, and I definitely, I want to absolutely make a point clear, okay? Because like you talked about the two sites that everybody uses as a point of reference, like no matter what you're talking about, but they don't apply 100% when it comes to a local automobile dealership.
Sure,
nothing does. Nothing does. You used Amazon.
Applies.
Nothing. But we absolutely have to get this clear, okay? You used Amazon and you used Apple. Every website service provider will tell you, you need to make your website clean. You need to make it fast. You need to get the people on the inventory as fast as you possibly can, right? And I agree, but only to a point, because once again, that is a herding management mentality. You try to put everybody in what's called your best practices, okay? But best practice for dealer A is not going to be the same as it is for dealer B, as it's going to be for Apple or Amazon. Amazon does transactional internet better than anybody. So if you want to be 100% transactional, then yes, you focus on what Amazon does and you copy move they make. If they move something 1 pixel over, you move it a pixel over. That's if you're doing transactional marketing. Okay. If you're Apple, everybody who goes to the Apple website, they know what friggin' Apple is. They know what they've got. They want to see what the new thing is. They're already sold on Apple. And if they're not sold, if they're an Android person or if they're a PC person and they're coming over, okay, they're already in. They're already into it. So now it's just show me what you got. When it comes to the dealership, like I said before, the cars are a friggin' commodity. The black Accord that is at that, whatever that guy's name was, Muller Honda, is the exact same black Accord that's at the other 12 Honda dealerships in Chicagoland. Okay, so it's completely different. If you want to rest just on your inventory and you want to take the transactional approach, that's great. But you better have like 1,000 cars in stock, and you're going to lose more often than you're going to win. Every single dealership needs to establish that why buy message and that added value message. It has to be about what is in it for the customer when they buy from that dealership and why they should buy from that dealership. Like I said before, the cars are a commodity. There's nothing different about them. The only thing that the dealership truly has to sell is itself. And you don't do that with a nice drone footage of the dealership showing the roof of the dealership. Nobody cares about how many zones of air conditioning you have in the showroom. They care about what's in it. That's all those fucking drone videos show is the roof of the dealership. And okay, I've got 9 air conditioning compressors up there. That's great.
Look at our parking lot.
Look at our parking lot. Okay, great. Do you have the car I want? How much is it? And why in the world should I trust you with my 20, 30, 40, 50, $60,000 that I'm going to invest in this vehicle that's going to depreciate and be worth nothing when I'm done with it? Why in the world should I trust you? That is the front and center message.
Good stuff. Well, hey, let's close this down. We really went way over time, but I think it was worth it. And good info coming out of here. So, folks, Advanced Auto Retail Marketing. This is one of 5 auto retail masterminds that we have launched. You can go to autoconversion.net, look under masterminds, click on auto retail. Each of them has their own recurring Facebook event that you can RSVP to. You can opt in via email to be notified for each one that we're going to do, and just get involved. If you have ideas, things you want us to explore. I mean, Frank, I'd love to do this, periodically, get together, pick a couple sites, focus on something like a service page or a trade-in page or a VDP and focus on things because we find these little details that really, really matter. And the idea is that you can apply these right now on your side. So get involved, get with Frank, get with myself, and just help be a part of this all. Frank, thanks again for taking the time to be here, man.
With that, anybody that wants to get in touch with me, please reach out on social. You can find me anywhere. Just search Frank J. Lopes or search the hashtag Get More Frank. If you have questions about website optimization, about why buy messages, about added value messages, about I keep saying internet service providers, they all suck, about website service providers, anything like that, hit me up on social, message me on Facebook Messenger, message me on Instagram direct message, whatever you want, and I'll be more than happy to point you in the right direction.
And you're doing awesome with your Facebook Lives. You do what, about 3 to 5 a week, I'd say, right? Usually at night?
Yeah, I generally do about 3 to 5 a week. I try to do them as often as I possibly can, as long as I'm not traveling on an airplane or something during the evening hours when I do them. The one I do the most is a show called Go Live with Lopes. That's I try to do that Sunday through Thursday nights at somewhere around 9 o'clock. And that's where I use the live with function that's built into Facebook Live. And I throw out a topic and I bring in 3, 4, 5, 6 guests at random with no setup, no pre-interview, no nothing, man. You just come on live and it's raw, it's unedited, and we just chop it up about whatever the topic is that night.
Yeah, man, it's good stuff. It is good stuff. So, so check out Frank and get the ideas flowing. Let us know what you want to see. We'll get another one planned, and we'll go from there. Tomorrow, I got Terry Lancaster coming on our weekly live broadcast, Autoconverse on Air. So be sure to tune into that. I don't even know what Terry and I are doing tomorrow. I got to go put the agenda together. So
whatever it is, if you got Terry on, it's going to be an awesome show. And anybody who's watching now, you need to watch that show tomorrow with Ryan and Terry. You need to watch it. Mark it on your calendar. Block out the time. Whatever you got to do. Put a do not disturb on the sign out on your door outside. Whatever it is, and make sure you tune into that show.
What's great about what we do is even if you can't hit it live, it'll come out on our podcast, and you can catch it on our blog and our videos of it too. So, all right, Frank, we'll talk to you soon, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time around. Take care.
Did you stop the live?